You send the text. 3 dots appear. Then they vanish. Nothing happens for an hour. Then 2. Then the little word just sits there. Read. No reply comes. Your chest tightens. Your stomach drops. The way it does when you miss a step in the dark. You tell yourself it's nothing. It doesn't feel like nothing. That reaction feels emotional. It isn't only emotional. Scientists have found that being ignored, excluded, or rejected can activate the same regions of your brain as a physical injury. And the reason why is far stranger than a bruised ego. To understand it, you have to go back further than the message. Back before phones, before writing, before language itself. For nearly all of human history, being cut off from your group didn't mean an awkward silence. It meant death. A person alone on the open grassland 200,000 years ago had no claws sharp enough to fight off a predator, no fur thick enough to survive a cold night alone, no strength to bring down large prey without help. Survival depended entirely on the tribe. Exile wasn't a metaphor. It was a death sentence, usually a slow one. So evolution needed a way to make separation feel unbearable. Not mildly unpleasant. Unbearable, urgent, impossible to ignore. What would you build if you were evolution and you needed a fragile, slow, clawless animal to never wander too far from its group? You'd borrow a system that already worked. Pain. Physical pain already had a job. Stop you from touching fire. Stop you from walking on a broken ankle. Stop you from ignoring a wound until it kills you. It's an alarm wired directly into your attention, loud enough that you cannot simply decide to overlook it. So instead of inventing a brand new alarm for social threats, the human brain appears to have repurposed the old one. Rejection got wired into the very same circuitry as physical injury. This isn't just a poetic idea. Researchers have watched it happen in real time inside a scanner. In 2003, the psychologist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran an experiment using a simple computer game called Cyberball. Participants lay inside an fMRI machine, watching themselves play a game of catch with 2 other players online. At first, the ball came to them normally. Then, without explanation, the other 2 players simply stopped throwing it their way. That was the entire study, being quietly left out of a game of digital catch. The brain scans showed something remarkable. A region called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, long associated with the distress of physical pain, lit up during exclusion almost exactly as it does during a physical injury. Being ignored by strangers in a fake game triggered the same neural alarm as a cut or a burn. Why would a brain treat being left out of a video game as a bodily threat? Because to the old, deep parts of your nervous system, being left out has never registered as trivial. It registers as danger. Think about how strange that finding really is once you sit with it. No one hit these participants. No one threatened them. Nothing in the room was physically capable of hurting anyone. The only thing that happened was a ball, on a screen, stopped coming their way. And the brain responded as though something had actually wounded it. Eisenberger and her collaborator Matthew Lieberman proposed something they called the social pain hypothesis. Their argument was direct. The brain did not evolve 2 separate systems, one for physical injury and one for social injury. It adapted a single system and pointed it at both. That single system idea also explains why social pain doesn't fade the moment logic kicks in. You can know, intellectually, that a stranger's cyberball game means nothing about your worth. Eisenberger's participants knew that too. They knew it was just an experiment, that the other 2 players were following a script, that nothing real was at stake. It didn't matter. Their brains responded anyway, instantly, before conscious thought had a chance to intervene. The alarm doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't check with the reasoning parts of your mind first. It just fires. That would explain something curious about the language you already use without ever noticing it. You say a breakup left you broken. You say criticism stings. You say loneliness hurts. Those may not be figures of speech at all. They may simply be your brain accurately reporting what it is actually doing to you. In 2011, a researcher named Ethan Cross at the University of Michigan pushed the question further still. He recruited people who had recently gone through an unwanted breakup, people who still felt a real jolt of rejection whenever they thought about their ex. He showed them a photo of that person while they lay inside a brain scanner. Then, in a separate part of the same session, he applied mild physical heat to their arm. The overlap between the two brain responses was striking enough that when the results were published,